This is the demo video for the Sgraffito method. I'm going to be using Speedball Underglaze to give this little tile 3 different coats of underglaze. I'm making sure that I'm doing nice, thin, even coats and spreading out that underglaze very well so there are no ridges or high surfaces. And I'm going to go both directions to make sure it's very even and let it dry between coats. Here's coat number 2. Just spreading it out and making sure that I don't have any high spots and going both directions to keep it even. Here's my third and final coat. This video is sped up so that it doesn't take as long to watch, so keep in mind it will take you a little longer to do nice even coats. Okay, here I have my little dragonfly motif that I drew, and I'm going to be transferring that design onto my leather hard clay tile that has my underglaze coating on it. I'm just using a pencil and retracing what I have drawn, and the pressure of the pencil will transfer those lines onto my clay tile. So I'm just going over all of the things, all the parts of my dragonfly, and just the pressure of the pencil will create those indents that I can then carve afterwards. Adding in those fine detail lines and the veins of my dragonfly. And I'm going to be using 2 different tools. So I have a little carving tool and a needle tool. First, I'm going to take my needle tool and outline all of the indents that I just drew so that they don't fade or disappear. So remember, the Sgraffito method is when I carve through a layer of either colored slip or underglaze to reveal the color of the clay underneath where the carving is. And that's how I get the contrast for the Sgraffito method. So your underglaze coat needs to be done first, and it is applied to your leather hard clay. That way you can still carve afterwards when it is dry, when the underglaze is dry. So I'm just taking my needle tool and outlining everything, all of the details, all the bits. Then I'm going to switch to my carving tool and go back through and outline the outside edges to create some contrast and variety in those lines. So here's my carving tool, and I'm going to go around the outside edge of my dragonfly and carve out those lines so that you get a little bit more of that clay color peeking through. And we'll add some variety to our design too by having thicker and thinner carved lines. Just constantly brushing those crumbs off. I don't want the crumbs to get stuck inside the areas that I am carving out. We want those to be nice and crisp and clean. So any crumbs from the carving need to be brushed off. I'm going to go back through with my needle tool and just clean up those really thin carved lines that I did earlier. Little crumbs tend to get stuck in those, so if you just do another pass with your carving or your needle tool, that will help take the crumbs out of there just to make sure those lines stay nice and crisp. I'm going to take my dragonfly and add some more parts of a dragonfly on my tile. That will help my design feel more balanced and not just like one thing in the middle of a space. So I'm just going to add other parts of dragonflies, like you have a little snapshot of a little dragonfly swarm, and you're just seeing a little section of it. It'll help create some visual interest and not leave me with a bunch of empty negative space in my design also. So I'm going to do the same process that I did with my main dragonfly and outline everything with my needle tool, including the details. And then I'll go back through with my carving tool and do the outside lines to thicken those up and add some variety in the line qualities. Just continually brushing those little crumbs off so they don't get stuck. Especially in the detail part, we want to make sure those stay nice and clear. Once everything is all cleaned up and there are no crumbs left, it is ready for firing, and that is how you do the Sgraffito method.